Hi there, my name is Keith Whittier and thank you so much for tuning into my video blog. Today I'm going to be presenting the best movies of 2011 as seen by me. I'm not a critic, but I am a man with opinion, and since we all have an opinion, I guess we're all critics in some form or fashion. I absolutely love going to the movies. I love the movie-going experience. I love getting my popcorn and my drink and nestling into my seat in the theater to watch what's going to appear on the big screen. I love pretty much everything about the movie-going experience, except for the stupid kids who are always texting on the phones, but I digress. If you're looking to see your artsy-fartsy movies here that the Academy has been talking about, or I should say not the Academy has been talking about, but people have been talking about for the Academy, this isn't the place for you. For example, last year I thought The King's Speech was a nice movie, but I thought Inception was much better and was robbed. I think the last time the Academy and I truly agreed on Best Picture was Slumdog Millionaire, and I can't even remember when it was before that. For example, No Love for Shawshank Redemption? Come on. Anyways, I digress. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm going to present to you my top favorite movies of the year. Start with number 10, The Help. The Help to me was one of the most beautiful movies I've seen in a long time. I love the female-driven cast, including people such as Octavia Spencer and Viola Davis and Bryce Dallas Howard. I thought the movie was wonderful as it told the tale of black women raising white children. These black women who were maids raising white children back in the day. It was a beautiful movie that tugged at every possible emotion. And at the end of the movie, you know you're seeing a great movie when the audience doesn't want to get up and move because they're all stunned by what they just saw. My number 9 movie for Best Movies of the Year is a prequel, and it's X-Men First Class. A lot of people will dismiss X-Men as being just another superhero franchise, but I'll tell you something. If you've seen the more recent, not the more recent, excuse me, but if you've seen the movies with Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry, this is definitely worth your time. This movie was great as it told the tale of how Professor Xavier and Magneto came to be and how they came to be on opposing sides, as it told the tale of these mutants who are essentially trying to fit into society but are a little different. And then it comes the tale of, do we want to be with the human race or do we want to be against it? And how it all tied in with the Cuban Missile Crisis was absolutely genius. So do yourself a favor and go check out X-Men First Class. The next movie on my list I thought was going to be an after-schoolish type special movie, as it dealt with a lot of after-school special-ish type themes. It's a movie called Trust, starring Clive Owen, Catherine Keener, and introducing Liana Liberato as a young lady who is online befriending a gentleman who she thinks is somebody her age, and it turns out that he's a sexual predator who's about twice her age. It was an amazing movie. It was very uncomfortable at times, but definitely worth seeing. If you've got teenage children, I especially encourage you to see this movie. It definitely flew under the radar, but I really enjoyed it. For me, I was shocked that this movie was directed by David Schwimmer. Was never a huge fan of the Friends cast, especially post-Friends in terms of what are they going to do now. He's done an exceptionally amazing job in this movie. It's probably not going to earn him a lot of recognition, but please go see this movie. It's very good, and it's definitely worth your time. The next movie on my list is a movie that came out earlier in 2011 called The Lincoln Lawyer with Matthew McConaughey. To me, it took me back to A Time to Kill, as it was very much, a legal-driven movie, as Matthew McConaughey's character conducts his business out of a Lincoln Continental. He's a very good lawyer who knows how to work the angles, and he's left defending somebody who he's not sure is or is not guilty of the crime, and it tugs on his morality. A great movie, an excellent cast, including Marissa Tomei and Bryan Cranston. Again, Lincoln Lawyer, definitely worth your time. The next movie on my list is a movie called Sarah's Key. Again, based on a book. Sarah's Key stars Kristen Scott Thomas as a reporter who is reporting a horrific event that took place in France many years ago. She learns that there might be a parallel between the event that took place in France and some things that have happened in her family's past. A very stunning movie, a very emotional movie, definitely worth seeing. Again, one of those movies where it was over, everybody just sat still, it was extremely numb. Now, we enter into my top 5 movies of the year. My favorite comedy of the year, and a lot of people would think it would be Bridesmaids, but it's not. My favorite movie of the year is a movie that came out earlier this year earlier in 2011, called Cedar Rapids. Cedar Rapids stars Ed Helms, John C. Reilly, Isaiah Whitlock, and Anne Heche. This movie tells the tale of Tim Lippe, played by Ed Helms, who lives in a small town, who's never been out of his small town. He's very comfortable in his own element. He's never really seen black people. So if Ed Helms' character saw me in the street, he'd be a little startled. So he is sent to Cedar Rapids, and the point of him going down to Cedar Rapids is he's representing his company at this big insurance convention. There he meets characters like John C. Reilly's Dean Ziegler, who's a wild party guy, and Anne Heche's soccer mom character, who's very seductive. The reason that I love this movie so much is I thought the performances were phenomenal, and because quite frankly, I've been to this conference. Most of the sales conferences that I've ever gone to have elements of these characters at them. And I just love the way that these characters came together on the screen, and I thought they did a phenomenal job. I was rolling on the ground laughing. A lot of people think John C. Reilly's character is very obnoxious in this movie, and to a point it was, but it was real. People like John C. Reilly's Dean Ziegler are out there, and I think he did a phenomenal job of bringing this character to life. My number 4 favorite movie of the year, I don't know if I can say number 4 favorite movie of the year, but I kind of just did, would be The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Before this movie came out, I saw the trailer for it, and I thought, hands down, this is the best trailer of the year. The feel-bad movie of Christmas, I have to see this movie. I'd never read any of the books. I had seen the Swedish movie probably about a month before this movie came out, the Fincher version came out, and I have to tell you, I absolutely loved it. People are saying, which version do you like better? Both versions are similar yet different, but I'm focusing on the Fincher version here. I absolutely loved Rooney Mara in this movie. She did a phenomenal job in her performance. So for those of you who aren't in the know, let me give you a quick rundown. Essentially, Rooney Mara's character, Elizabeth Salander, is a lady who's had a very rough upbringing. She is teamed up with Daniel Craig's character, Mikhail Blomkvist, who was a disgraced journalist. The two of them get together to solve a 40-year-old mystery. It's a phenomenal movie. Fincher dares you to look away from the screen at times. You have to keep in mind, this is the same person who made Fight Club and Seven. He's not afraid of going to dark places. And I commend Stieg Larsson on a phenomenal novel, which I've started reading now. Do yourself a favor, go see The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. My third favorite movie of the year comes to us in the form of a movie called Drive. A lot of people were critical of Drive in the sense that they thought it was very slow moving, yet still a lot of people really loved this movie. I'm on the side that really loved it. I think that Ryan Gosling did a phenomenal performance in this movie. If you look at Ryan Gosling's movies over the course of 2011, there was Crazy Stupid Love, which was a very sweet romantic comedy. There was The Ides of March, which I thought was a good movie, but didn't really have a strong effect on me. But when I saw Drive, I was absolutely blown away. Ryan Gosling, known in the movie only as the driver, has two different jobs. During the day, he is a stunt driver for movies, and at night he is a getaway driver for criminals, and he has specific rules on what he will and won't do when he's driving the getaway car. He befriends a lady in his apartment building whose husband is getting out of prison, and once the husband gets out of prison, he is forced by his past colleagues to do a former job, or else his family is at stake. Ryan Gosling is electrifying in this role. A lot of people will say, well, he's very frustrating in this role, and it's true, because there are times where his character will be asked a question. How are you? And he'll take forever to respond. So for example, how are you? I'm fine. What do you do for a living? I drive. That's what happens at the beginning of the movie, and it's pretty much what happens for a lot of the movie with his character. But you know what? It got to the point where I didn't mind. I think Ryan Gosling is phenomenal in this movie. I think he's a great actor. Very proud that he's a Canadian actor. And after seeing this movie, I can clearly say that I've forgiven him for making The Notebook. Now, my second favorite movie of the year is a movie that I saw at the beginning of the year, and clearly, to be quite honest with you, I thought it was going to be my favorite movie of 2011. It's a movie called Barney's Version, based on the book by Mordecai Rickler. It tells the story of a man who was married 3 times, and at his second wedding, he meets the woman of his dreams. Kind of scary to conceive of a fact of a man meeting the woman of his dreams at his own wedding, but yet still, it works. This the protagonist is played by Paul Giamatti, who for my money is one of the best actors today. I've yet to see a Paul Giamatti performance that I haven't liked, and this was no exception. Paul Giamatti is phenomenal as Barney, who starts off as a very nice going guy, but then becomes quite the curmudgeon. And then Rosamund Pike as the woman of his dreams is phenomenal on the screen as his love Miriam. This is a great movie. It's Canadian. It has a lot of wonderful themes in it. I definitely encourage people to go and check it out. Some people will say, why is this on your 2011 list? Didn't it come out last year? It was released late 2010, but it didn't hit the theaters in Ottawa until 2011, so that's the reason that it is on my list. Now, my favorite movie of the year, before I get to it again, if you want to talk, if you want to chat about any of the movies that we've talked about or my opinions, you can find me on Twitter at CFL_fan. My favorite movie of 2011 was Paranormal Activity 3. Now, the first thing I'll say about choosing a horror movie is, the thing with horror movies that I find is, people always say one of two things when it comes to horror movies. They'll either say, well, it didn't scare me, or they'll say, I knew that was going to happen. Because they think, I guess, by saying that, either that's true and maybe they can pick it out, or because it's not so cool to admit that you were scared. I'm not really concerned about being cool, so I'll tell you, this movie scared the bejesus out of me. I don't have any hair, but if I did, it all would have been standing on end. You would have seen a buckwheat type afro if I had seen this movie with a full head of hair. I'll also tell you that in terms of guessing the ending, well, good luck with that. This movie, the preview said the last 15 minutes will mess up your life. I don't necessarily think that it messed up my life, but I'll tell you, after seeing this movie, I needed to go and have some downtime because I was completely shaken at what I just seen. So let's take a step back and say what, and I'll tell you exactly why I picked this movie. As stated in an earlier blog, I hate trailers that give away everything in the movie. So this movie had two distinct trailers. The first trailer showing the two girls in the bathroom playing Bloody Mary, and after they said Bloody Mary for the third time and they left the bathroom, there was a figure standing in the bathroom. That freaked me out. And the cool thing about that scene wasn't in the movie. The second trailer showed you a lot of different scenes that, again, weren't in the movie. So I love the fact that I can come to a movie and pretty much see it fresh without having to worry about it being blown by the trailer. Is that enough for it to be given Best Movie of the Year? No, but it's something that I did like about the movie. What I really liked about this movie, what made it the Best Movie of the Year for me, is after seeing Paranormal Activity 1 and Activity 2 and being introduced to the sisters Katie and Christy, I knew that going into it, we were going to find out where the source of this activity was coming from. I knew that we were going to find out exactly what transpired in their childhood, but I had no idea exactly what would happen. As we go through these horror movies that seem to come out every Halloween, like Saw did, as Saw got progressively worse, Paranormal Activity 3 is getting progressively better. There was a very smart way of introducing why everything was being filmed in the movie, so we knew right away that the documentary aspect was going to continue. We started to see things that were happening in these young ladies' childhood that was starting to make us understand what would happen in the later movies. And if you look at all three movies, you'll see symbolism in all three movies that are consistent. What I loved about this movie was how it told the story of exactly what happened to these young girls as children and exactly where the activity came from. All the questions were answered, and I thought it did a great job of doing such. My concern is, will there be a Paranormal Activity 4? I don't think we need a Paranormal Activity 4. I think we could let it rest. But because this movie has proven to be an extremely profitable franchise, you make it for $1 million, it makes over $100 million, or even the first one, which was made for $13,000 and made over $100 million, chances are we're going to see another one. But I absolutely congratulate the directors of this movie on doing a phenomenal job, not only in marketing the movie, but in its distribution in the movie itself. So there you have it. My top favorite movies of 2011. Perhaps you agree with some of them, perhaps you disagree with some of them. I welcome your comments regardless. CFL_fan on Twitter. My name is Keith, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video blog.